Positively Muskegon, Andy O'Reilly today at the Bigby Coffee. We're on Henry Street. Chris and Melissa Neer are here, and we're here to talk today about a walk to remember. Tell me a little bit about the idea of a walk to remember and how it came about.
I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, I knew that was going to come. She always does. Well, back in 2003, our daughter Callie Jo passed away at 35 weeks gestation. And while we were waiting for her to be born, I couldn't sleep at all, and I'm just restless. Well, outside of our room, there's a little postcard saying that our room, the people in that room, had lost a baby.
Okay.
As I'm walking the hallway of the hospital, I noticed there was another room that had the same postcard.
So in the hospital, there's like a queue to the employees and stuff that will tell them that this couple just lost a baby.
Right.
Okay.
So while we're doing that, I'm looking around, and I walk by the room, and I normally don't spark up a conversation.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially when you see something like that.
Especially something like that, you don't know if you're intruding. You know, it's like what to say. I don't want to be rude or anything like that, but I just felt like I had to say something. So I knocked on the door, and I'm just shaking. I'm knocking. I'm like, oh, please, God, don't let them answer. They did.
Yep.
It was the grandma of the mom that, of the gal who had daughter passed away. And I said, I'm so sorry. My wife and I, we're just waiting on our daughter to be born. Our daughter passed away. And I would like to talk with you if I could, just to see how you're doing. Maybe I could pray with you. Maybe I could just encourage you and vice versa, you know, and see what you're going through.
Little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
to see what you're going through.
Sure.
And so that's how it started. Well, not thinking of anything about a ministry at all, or support group, or walk.
You just wanted to reach out and be a friend.
I just wanted to be a friend, exactly. So what happened a few weeks later, her dad's a pastor, and he was a pastor at the church that we were going to at the time. He came up and said, hey, Chris and Missy, you guys ever think about maybe starting a support group or a ministry, anything like that? I looked at him, and I was, quite frankly, I was angry.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Because you had just lost a daughter.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
like, how dare you say this to us? You know, we need to be ministered to. We need to be reached out to. I don't want someone saying that, hey, how about you start this? Well, not realizing, you know, that was God telling us.
Knock on the door.
Yeah, hello.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's how it basically it started.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long has it been going on?
We started it the year 2004, so 13 years.
How
This
about
is our
that?
13th year.
No
Yes.
kidding. Good for you.
Yeah.
And your event now, this Walk to Remember, it's down at Heritage Landing,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
It sure
Correct.
is.
Tell me a little
Correct.
bit more about this event.
It's more of a memorial service than
Okay.
anything. We have a service where we have a special speaker. We have some people share their story or a special poem that they like that spoke to them. We have a memorial table that people can bring mementos of their children that they've lost. And it's just a time of healing and remembering. And after the service, we have a short walk with a balloon release, and then we come back for refreshments so we can visit and talk to others and speak to those who need to have healing and
Somebody who needs to be heard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the worst things as a bereaved parent, especially throughout time, it just feels like people forget.
Yeah.
And this is just an opportunity to say, hey, your child is important. It means just as much as any living children. And we want to know about your child.
Yeah.
You know, and we want you to be able to voice it.
Yeah. I know a woman who just recently went through this. She lost a baby in the womb. You know, they had to go in and get the kid out and everything else. And it's a very, very hard time for her.
Sure.
In fact, I sent her a preview of the article, just like I did you guys.
Nice.
She didn't grade it. Melissa here graded my article before I got
Yeah.
Sorry.
Should be a comma here, a period there. I'm like, hey, what are you, my wife? And he says, no, she's mine. She does that to me too. But as I was getting the article around, I was thinking about her, and I was thinking about you guys. What's your first words to somebody that's just going through this? What's the first thing you say?
I am so sorry.
Yeah?
There's no words.
No.
And I just hug them.
Yeah?
It's just, we know what we went through. We have our grief. Our story is different from your story, but we have the same thing happen with the loss of a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't say that we understand because everybody grieves differently.
Yeah.
You know, people go through it, their mindset's different. It might be similar, but, you know, I can't say I understand, but I can grieve with you.
It's such a dramatic thing because, you know, as I wrote in the article a little bit, you know, I've never gone through this, and I don't know what it's like to have that 9-month window of hope and and excitement, and you're getting the nursery around, and you're getting the crib and all that kind of stuff, and then nothing.
Right.
You know, it's funny you say that because right before Callie passed away, I was working on what was going to be our oldest son's room, and then Callie was going to take over the nursery. Well, when she passed away, I didn't touch my oldest son's room for almost a year.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with it at all.
And all of the materials that we collected over the past 9 months that were for our daughter were piled up in that room and just shut the door. And
so you were just kind of like denial a little bit, maybe.
In a way.
If we just don't touch this.
I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. And that's the thing.
It was hard.
You know, people grieve differently, and there's no time frame with grief.
Yeah.
People, you know, there's still times where I might see a commercial on TV or hear something on the radio. I'll see my niece. One of my nieces are the same age, and a thought pops up in my mind. You know,
that happens to me all the time. You know, I'm a big, tough-looking dude and all this stuff, but music is a big thing for me. Things that, you know, will trigger a memory. Movies will trigger a memory, and then even kids' faces and stuff.
Right.
It's an overwhelming thing to go through this life, and, you know, you get to your mid-40s like I think we are. At least I hope you guys are.
Yeah.
and you know, you start building this collection of memories and thoughts and things that you've seen friends go through and things you've been through. You never planned on that, you know? Kind of like you never planned on losing an infant.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think part of the healing process, instead of denying it and rejecting those thoughts and memories and stuff, not necessarily welcoming them, but dealing with them.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not going to
put
go
them
away.
off.
No.
Don't put them off.
Right.
I mean, I had to go on some medication.
Oh, I would imagine.
Antidepressants afterwards. But I was on so high of a dosage, I couldn't even grieve.
Yeah.
Which postponed my grief.
Yeah.
And it just hurt me even more. Yeah. And so I had to get off of that, and then I finally was able to grieve fully.
Yeah. There's good drugs out there, but some of them, on the other hand, they just, you know, and you know, I can't really fault a doctor, because if he's looking at what you've gone through and thinking, he's like, you know what, she really needs to distance herself from all this, but in the long term, you're going to have to face it sooner or later.
And that same dosage might work out perfectly for another person.
Some people might be different with their doses.
Yeah. You got the event. This goes on once a year.
Yes.
So talk about other events that you do. Do you have a group that gets together to talk and that kind of thing?
We used to have a support group that met at our home.
Yep.
But it was hard to plan that, especially as we have children that are living. We have 4 living children. So to plan and just to spare a moment, someone coming up.
Yeah.
So unless it was planned ahead of time, and that's what we do now. We like to plan, and we still welcome if we get together with someone. More than welcome. We want to be able to talk.
Yeah.
Because not everybody, and I'm sure other people who see this too, not everybody wants to talk about it.
No.
Not friends and family. You know, sometimes even spouses don't always deal with this.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, a husband, even I find a husband might not even want to hear from their wife, or vice versa.
Is there a blame game?
No, it
with
can
some
be
couples?
sometimes. Oh, sure.
Sometimes, yes.
Sure.
Did you guys go through that? Was there
so
ever,
much.
you know, like,
I blamed myself.
You did.
I did.
So there's part of a blame game.
Yeah,
Right.
and I tried my best to encourage her, and it wasn't her.
Yeah.
And, you know, but there was times, and I talked to her about this, where I didn't know how to grieve or help her.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to help myself.
Right.
But we had to voice that so we were on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, instead of putting the wall up and
Which is, it's
separating
easy
ourselves,
to do.
we had to we had to go through this together.
Force you to become closer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not a way we wanted to.
Miracles work
but
in weird ways, don't they?
Sure.
It does.
Yeah.
It
It's an
does.
expensive price to pay. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
But
Right.
you know the good that comes out of this stuff, and I think it's a big deal. One, I think it's a big deal that people talk to each other about shared problems. So I
Right.
think because the human experience is it's different, but it's not that different. We all struggle with something sooner or later. We all have issues we think can't be fixed. We all isolate from time to time when things are really tough.
Right.
But you guys have taken this all and turned it into something that can help others. And
it
I
helps
think that's
us.
a big deal
Right.
to me. And I'll say this too, every time I help somebody that's got an addiction issue or a problem, with like the woman I know with the baby, if I just spend 10, 15 minutes talking to her, I feel better about me for the day
Right.
because I did my part, for everybody.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, everybody is good. What time does this get underway down at Heritage Landing?
We start at 10:30
Okay.
in the morning, and we usually are wrapped up by no later than noon.
Okay.
And it's just a healing time of sharing and just being able to be with others that
Sure.
have gone through a loss as
Sure.
well.
Remarkable people, Chris and Melissa Neer. We'll put all the details about your event here on the blog. We'll put the link up. I think you got a Facebook page for it and all that stuff. And
Yes.
people can contact you through that.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Great people in Muskegon, just like Chris and Melissa here. We do what we can to find all you guys that are doing great things in Muskegon. It's a great part of the job. Chris, Melissa, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Wish you the best for the walk,
Thank
and
you very much.
anything we
Thank
can
you.
do for you in the future, you holler and let us know.
All right,
All right,
great.
great.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Great
much.
people here on Positively Muskegon.